Welcome back to BluHorn TV. I'm Wes Benwick, your host. This is 5 Minutes with Kelly Alexander of K-Co Media, an advertising company. Kelly, welcome to our show live from Cape Coral, Florida. How is it down there?
It's nice. Very nice.
You recently moved there, right? This is a new place for you.
Yes, it is. Totally.
I hope that you're enjoying
how can you not go to Florida?
Right? How do you not love Florida? Exactly. And how do you not love the advertising and media buying business? You have a pretty long history here. This is not something new to you, right? Tell me a little bit about your company real quick.
Right. We've been in advertising agency for over 10 years. There's been a lot of changes in the past 10 years as well. I went from media buying, creative, the traditional media, and then now kind of switching over to the digital, which is very big.
Let's talk about that transition. You know, a lot of times we talk only about the future, but let's talk a little bit about the past of media buying, reminisce for a moment, right? When you first got into the business, you know, where were you spending your money primarily, and how were you making your decisions on where to spend your money or your clients' money?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was mainly your traditional, which is your TV, radio, and print. And clients wanted, expert advice on how to place their media, with TV stations, if they were getting the best deal, if they were paying, the best rate and getting the ratings that they really needed for their advertising. So that was in place for a while. And then it started to change rapidly to digital. A lot of clients didn't understand digital, but it was coming and they knew they had to get on board with it, against their competitors. So we kind of switched over to digital, and now about 70, 80% are spending their budget on digital, rather than to traditional. So that has moved and shifted quite a bit in the last 10 years.
It's definitely a big shift. So what do you think that means? Does that mean TV and traditional broadcast media is a better buy now? You can get a better cost per point or cost per thousand? What do you think that is going to happen with broadcast medium?
Well, you should be. I'm not saying TV is out. The traditional media is still there. It just depends on the client and who they're trying to reach. So whether that's print, radio or TV, it's still a portion of their budget. It's just not used as largely as the digital is, because they're wanting to target their audience that is on these phones, that is on the computer, and that's where they live and breathe. So they don't live and breathe with TV. Not as many people are watching TV. It's not dead. It's just not as many. So you have to go where the people are at.
Have you actually noticed a decline in the ratings and the actual numbers of people watching TV for the same news segment or primetime show today as what you may have seen 8 to 10 years ago?
Yeah, less people are watching the news because they can get the news instantly now on social media, for example. So that kind of has gone to the wayside a little bit. But one thing that is still strong is your sports, because people don't record or don't watch sports later on and find out the results on social media. They want to see it in action.
I think that's a good point. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about strategy, right? It used to be all about the ratings, right? And ratings would lead to cost per thousand or cost per point, right? And ultimately it's reach and frequency. But how do you translate those strategies that you used to use 8 to 10 years ago with the strategies you use now to determine if you're getting a good value for your client's money or not, and really looking after their bottom line?
Yeah, we start out, the ratings are still important because that still gives you how much the audience is for that day part. So the client still does want to know, well, how many people am I reaching? What is the cost per thousand? So we do utilize that software and that program a lot. Then the end result, though, the client wants to know, okay, what am I getting from this? Am I getting the results from this? So we do have to track that in a different way to make sure that they are getting traffic in the door or they're getting the number of sales that they need. So it's not just the ratings. There's a lot to go with that. But that is still an important thing to use.
So, toughest question I'm going to ask you today. I'm going to put you on the spot. Just a gut feeling. I'm not going to ask you to prove this, all right? But in general, right now, when you look at the money being spent on digital, right, and whatever that really includes nowadays, social and online ads, et cetera, compared to what people were spending money years ago on traditional or broadcast type mediums.
Yeah.
All right. And then looking at the results, which I know you're very focused on with your business, and I'm a big fan of that approach. Would you say people are getting a better value now, a better return per dollar now than they were years ago?
They are. Much better. And the digital is less expensive cost per, dollar, cost per reach that you want to say per client. They can get more interactions. You can track it. I can't track TV. I can't track radio like we can with digital. People are interacting and you can see that. So yes, the client is paying less for digital and even for the traditional. So they should be, if the buyer is doing this properly, should be getting a better bang for their buck per se.
I think that's some very sound insight. All right, Kelly, you have always offered us some great information, and I appreciate you taking the time with us. Real quick, one final question. What keeps you up at night? What's your biggest fear looking forward for media buying?
For media buying, making sure that the client is happy. Making sure the client gets the results they need. If the client doesn't get the results, then it's not working for us, and they're going to cut cords with us. So that would be it.
Kelly, thank you very much. That is the one thing that has not changed, right? Keeping the client happy. That is going to be the case 50 years ago and 50 years into the future. Thank you very much for spending 5 minutes with us
Thanks
today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
On behalf of all of us at BluHorn, I appreciate you for joining us on 5 Minutes with Kelly Alexander of Keiko and Company. If you would like to learn more about her or BluHorn, please visit our site, BluHorn.com. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Wes Benwick, and we'll see you on our next episode.